As the late, great Pat Robertson famously observed, the feminist agenda is not about equal rights for women. It is about a socialist, anti-family political movement that encourages women to leave their husbands, kill their children, practice witchcraft, destroy capitalism, and become lesbians. Now, I don't know nearly as much about feminism as Pat Robertson, so to augment my knowledge, I've brought a real-life woman on today. That would be the great Mary Morgan.
Thanks for having me.
Thank
a
you for
real-life
coming.
woman, not a real-life feminist.
You're not a feminist.
Yes.
What are you?
I guess I'm an anti-feminist, but what am I pro? I guess I'm pro-woman.
Pro-woman. Pro like normal stuff, which the feminists are opposed to. So we have great examples of feminism in practice today, and you, if you are so inclined, will give your wisdom on how to ameliorate their condition.
I can try.
Are you a man? Do you like making your problems everyone else's responsibility? In terms of audacity, does your cup runneth over? Well, that sucks. But don't worry, I got just the thing for you. It's called going to therapy. Say goodbye to the days where you expect women to fix issues that men caused. Say au revoir to projecting onto others. With therapy, you can learn how to deal with your issues and gain a better understanding of the world around you. Isn't that fun? Therapy will help you realize that it's not a woman's responsibility to dress in accordance to your bad behavior.
Stop it. Get some help.
Call us today at 1-800-SEEK-HELP so that you can find your therapist today. Stop blaming women for issues that men cause.
If you have a therapist that teaches you accountability, they're probably a great therapist, but most of them aren't.
That's my big problem with her advice is therapy doesn't do that. I'm not saying there's
Not most of the time.
right. Maybe there's one or two good therapists out there. I'm not saying therapy can't work on anyone, but therapy doesn't actually accomplish that. In fact, most of the people I know who go to therapists have been going to the same therapists for years and decades, and they've only gotten crazier and more neurotic. And also this point of, women shouldn't be expected to dress a certain way to stop men from leching after them or something. And you think, yeah, men should control themselves and watch their eyes and everything. But also, lady, I got red blood. How about you dress appropriately? And then that would be better for everyone, wouldn't it? Is that misogynistic to say?
Yeah, this did stem from the modesty debate that rages on, right? I think, there's a medium between burqas and club wear at church.
Yeah, like a nice, tasteful abaya. Or even
Excuse me?
Or a niqab.
What did you just call me?
Yeah. Excuse me, abaya. I hardly know it. Yeah, don't you think, with all this modesty stuff, look, I could walk down the hall at Daily Wire in a Speedo. And
You could.
I could, and it would...
But should you?
And I should. But women, and I say this with no false modesty, being as much of an Adonis as I am, most women would not look up and be distracted from their work. Whereas, and it's just because, women are built differently than men. If a lady dressed provocatively, men, even trying their hardest to keep their eyes on their spreadsheets or whatever people do at work, they would have a hard time not looking. It would be very distracting. So if we grant that men and women are different, then shouldn't there be appropriate expectations for how men and women present themselves?
That's if we grant that men and women are different, which is a big ask for a lot of people. So you're going to get them over that premise first, and then we can settle the modesty debate once and for all.
If wishes were horses, beggars would ride. Next one.
Well, it's great that women occupy 65% of PR jobs. We still live in a world where only 14% of Alaska crab fishermen are women.
And 10% of roadkill removal specialists. Women are perfectly capable.
This is so
and they have
sad.
every right to be down there mining coal with the boys.
50% of coal miners should be women minimum.
It starts at home, whether it's mowing the lawn or building furniture.
We've both been doing our part. Babe, I support you in both of your careers.
90% of whale snot collectors are still men.
Or 94% of porta potty cleaners.
What message does this send to our daughters? Are you willing to step up, or are you too entrenched in gender norms?
Total equality in every way.
Yeah, I think children are also being unfairly discriminated against in the labor market.
That's
they should
right.
be in the mines. They yearn for the mines.
They yearn for the mines, and they're being kept out. Children need not apply, I've heard, is written on some
Sickening.
mine employment offices. That's true. This is the logical consequence, though, of men and women are exactly the same. Then they go to the
Yeah,
mines.
you don't see anyone calling for, like, where are all the male babysitters for my children? Where are all the male preschool teachers?
Yeah.
And we know why. Even, here's the really disturbing one. There are far less male morticians.
Really?
Dare I even explain why?
That's horrifying.
Yeah, it is.
So
But sometimes, gender norms exist for a reason.
I didn't know that most morticians were women. And I never thought if that were true of the reason why. And that is like the most ghoulish thing I've thought about for several hours.
Oh, buddy, what are you?
Well, it's fitting. I only think about fashion and death.
Next one.
Ladies, is your ex a piece of shit? Because mine definitely is. So I put him right here on my punching bag and I beat the shit out of him. Do you want me to beat the shit out of your ex? Would you like to add him to my bag of assholes? Just simply send me $5 and email the photo, and I will be more than happy to add him to my bag. This is my biological father. Never seen him. The guy who ghosted me this summer. Fuck you, Greg. Stay beautiful.
A friend of mine once told me, I'll clean this up for air, that all liberalism comes down to, screw you, Dad!
I hate you.
And she would seem to be proving that correct.
Yeah, the part where she got to her biological father being on the punching bag made it less funny.
That was the crux of it. This is witchcraft, right? I mean not really.
It's kind of a voodoo doll.
Yes, it's not. It's unfortunately like all things in modernity. Even witchcraft is lamer than it used to be because it's this like materialist, very physical, imminent kind of witchcraft, not casting spells or whatever.
Right.
But I get why she doesn't like her ex-boyfriends, and I get why a lot of women and men, I guess for that matter, become callous and bitter these days because they're encouraged to have so many boyfriends and girlfriends that they become immune to love. But why does she care about other people's ex-boyfriends?
Well, because all men are the same. They're a monolith. And all men have hurt all us women.
Yeah, okay. Are there any good men, do you think, in her view?
Probably the ones that go to therapy.
The ones that go to therapy and
Yeah.
and then go to the surgeon.
If they go to
and become women.
therapy and if they self-flagellate enough, maybe they can be good men in her eyes.
Like Tim Walz.
Yes.
He's a good man.
Yes. All the white dudes for Harris.
There's so much more to say. First, though, text Knowles to 989898. Kamala Harris's economic plan is a disaster. Get ready for massive tax hikes, all so she can add almost $2 trillion to a current $2 trillion deficit. You might be thinking it's time to make more of your savings tax sheltered and inflation sheltered. This is where I trust Birch Gold Group to help. Birch Gold will assist you in converting an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold, and you don't pay a penny out of pocket. Just text the word Knowles, K-N-W-L-E-S, to 989898. Get a free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just information on fortifying your savings before the crazy really hits. As the exclusive gold partner of the Daily Wire for the past 8 years, an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau, thousands of happy customers, you can trust Birch Gold too. Text Knowles, K-N-W-L-E-S, to the number 989898 for your free info kit today. I myself have a decent chunk of my portfolio in gold, and I'm very happy that I do. Today, in particular, might be a good time to look into diversifying. Text Knowles to 989898.
You just seem very misogynistic, realistically.
What is misogyny? Why are you using words that you don't even know the definition of?
No, that's not what I meant.
I think you are misogynistic, though.
But what does misogynistic mean, though? Like, just so I know what you're calling me.
Okay, so the reason I said it is just, again, based on the
This is a big problem, especially for feminists, but broadly for the libs, where they say words, but they don't know the meaning of those words.
I don't think it means what you think it means.
Well, I wish I knew the context because, I don't know, what if he legitimately said something misogynistic before we saw it, but he edited the street interview, as so often happens. To give a certain impression. But yeah, she doesn't seem to know the definition of the word she said.
That's the issue. I mean, it's not whatever he said before. She didn't know what the word meant, but she used the word.
Yeah, there are these women who go on the Whatever podcast and they reference the patriarchy.
We all have pieces of the patriarchy inside of us.
Hold on, what's the patriarchy?
The patriarchy.
And the host, Brian, always asks them the same question. Can you please define the patriarchy for me?
What is the patriarchy?
What is the patriarchy?
What articulate it?
And none of them can do it. And some of them even cry when they're asked. I feel so bad for them because it's like, you didn't know what you were walking into. The lady in the street interview video is probably drunk. A lot of them are.
That's true. They've just been programmed with phrases that are operating basically on their own. Like these people cease to be reasonable actors, and they become vessels for bad ideas.
Well, they just have feelings, just pure id.
Right. And feeling, I'm not I have this friend who says facts don't care about your feelings, but I think politics largely cares about your feelings. And I think feelings are good. I'm pro-feeling, but feelings need to be underneath reason.
Yeah,
right?
I should moderate that. I'm pro trusting your gut instinct, not the feeling that's on the surface level. So I think if women followed their gut more often than they follow conformity and consensus, they would be making much better decisions.
Doesn't their gut just tell them, I'm going to go along with the crowd? I'm going to be...
No, I think that their gut is immune to propaganda. I don't think propaganda can reach the gut. I think it tells you, this is not right, but consensus from the crowd around you is what tells you to ignore that feeling and just jump into whatever wrong decision you're about to make.
Just walked back through the door. It's freezing, isn't it? I had 3 lovely gigs tonight. I'm all wrapped up warm. And as I was leaving the last gig, somebody commented on my gloves, someone who'd been in the audience, and he said, why does it say mist on your gloves? I said, no, it doesn't say mist, it says nist. I said, and this one says Femi. Feminist. And he went, is your name Femi? I thought you said it was Callie. Anyway, I said, maybe you should get some. They could say patriarchy. And he said, but my name's not Patri.
Bazinga.
How we've let you be in charge for all these centuries, I do not know.
Wow. She's just ready to fight any man.
She's ready to fight.
She's squaring up at all times.
Also, just as a historical correction, she didn't let anyone be in charge. People just were in charge. She had very little say in it.
We. Who's we?
Who's the we here? Yeah, I don't, and I'm a little skeptical. Who is they, though? To quote Kanye West.
We know I can't say that.
I'm a little skeptical that if that lady were in charge, things would be running better. You always hear the men have been charged for 5,000 years now, and look how bad things are. We just have airplanes and indoor plumbing and extremely sophisticated economies that produce abundance for virtually everybody, certainly in the West. And, we went to the moon, even though some people on the internet say we didn't. And, we have, I don't know, it seems like the men have done a pretty good job.
Well, yeah, unless you ask the anarcho-primitivists, and they would say, we just need to get rid of all of that, live in the woods.
Whenever I have a problem, the first people I go to, the anarcho-primitivists. Next one.
I think if you're ever going to rate yourself, you should always rate yourself a 10, because you become more attractive when you hear how a person thinks. 10.
Okay, so you're a 10.
Yeah.
Okay, she's a 10. I have some makeup remover here. Does anybody want to revise their answer?
It's such a cheap bit from Brian, but it's pretty funny. I've got makeup remover. Do you agree you should always rate yourself a 10?
Oh, well, he did ask me to rate myself on one of those panels.
7.
I said 7 because that's the safe answer, right? Everyone says 7.
Yeah.
Rating yourself a 10 is not exactly convincing that you think you're a 10. You're trying to convince everybody else that you're...
Is the score purely physical, or does it involve some kind of
has nothing to do with who
personality?
you are as a person.
No, it's just, your body has
And that's
something
why
to
it's
do
so
with who you are.
deceptive. Here's the thing. Women rate men. They don't necessarily sit around rating men. But when they rate men in their mind, they rate men on a binary.
Yes or no.
It's a 0 or a 1. That's it. It's a yes or it's a no.
I think he asked me to rate myself. I don't know what I said.
Michael, say 10.
7. Do you think I should say 10?
Yeah, I think
Thank you. I'll say 10.
We all need to have the confidence to just...
Because the fear is you fall either into pride or into a false modesty. Or
What did you say?
Self-hatred? I actually don't remember,
You don't remember?
what I said. Because are you stacking it compared to everyone else, like purely on looks? You got 100 people in a room. How do you stack relative to them? Or is it more like how we actually would be compared at the final judgment, which is to the fullest expression of ourselves? So like a person...
Definitely not that.
So a person, two people could look very different, but both be 10s because they're most perfectly themselves. That's not tracking, no.
No, I mean, I follow to an extent. I think like it definitely adds to one's charisma, their riz.
Their riz.
If they're more truly
I guess that's what I'm asking too. Does riz factor into the 1 to 10 at all?
It doesn't, unfortunately. But that's a nice thought.
Yeah, okay. And do women have riz? Can a woman have riz?
I think she can.
She can. It's not a strict.
It doesn't matter as much though.
It doesn't. No,
you just kind of need to be thin and take care of yourself.
Yeah, no, there's more. And there are feminine traits that are nice, Do
your hair.
There's
wear a dress.
There's sort of modesty. There's dignity, nurturing. All these sorts of things that men. It doesn't matter as much.
If we're talking about the surface level.
But even the way a woman comports herself, physically looks. She could either dress up like she's going to, walk up and down Sepulveda Boulevard soliciting customers, or she can look like she's about to host a Daughters of the American Revolution lunch. It's the same woman, but she's kind of dressing differently, holding herself differently.
I actually was in the Daughters of the American Revolution.
Really?
Yeah, I think
I'm an SAR descendant. I haven't filled out my paperwork, though. They're trying to let
transgender people
into DAR.
I heard.
Yeah, that's not good. Next one.
If when you're in a relationship, what are some of the techniques that you'll use to nag the guy so we can look out for those as men?
I don't know. Just lower his self-esteem, I guess. Calling him names or something.
Because those are some of the things you've done with him in the past?
Yeah, I guess.
What are some of the mean things that you've said to your boyfriend, even though he's doing his best?
If they have a dream or something, try to insult that to kind of get them down, I guess.
Just tell him you're nobody, your rap career is not going to work out. What's the ultimate goal? Just to keep him in a constant state of depression?
I guess kind of make them doubt themselves about who they are as a person and their own personalities and stuff like that. I guess, yeah.
Okay, thanks. That's great. We'll watch out for that.
She have 2 large Baja Blasts in her hand while she's doing this.
And she seems kind of somewhat ignorant and she's timid in the way she's speaking. Yeah. But then when she speaks, it's like a stone cold psycho who's thought about every angle.
Yeah, she's ending every sentence with, I guess.
Yeah. I guess what I would do is sneak into his house and boil around.
Eviscerate him as a person and hollow him out from the inside.
Would you?
I guess.
Is there any, just to play devil's advocate, is there an argument for women to behave that way to attract or keep a man?
What, to keep a man?
To attract and or to keep a man. To
knock him down
a couple, knock him down a couple pegs.
Well, this is the whole conversation about negging.
Well, I don't really know what negging means. I thought he said nagging at first.
You say negative things, so you're negging someone.
Wow.
Knocking them down a
So
peg.
are you a negger?
No.
No.
I don't think so. It's actually a big pet peeve of mine because it's one of my biggest annoyances is when people act overly familiar with you.
Yes.
And if someone is trying to make jabs at me when I don't even know them, it's back away. You don't know me like that.
That's interesting.
But maybe some girls with low self-esteem find negging to be a big turn on.
You're saying a guy would make negative comments about you?
Usually it's guys who neg women, yeah.
I would never neg a woman. I would neg a guy because that's how guys talk to each other.
Right. It's weird. That's why, actually, you just pointed it out.
Yeah.
It's you're giving me guy talk and I'm a girl.
Yeah,
that's why it annoys me.
That's quite gay, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty gay.
Negging is gay. That's our conclusion. See you next time on another informative episode of whatever this show is.
Women.